Alright, in this video I wanted to cover the new kindness weapons and kind of showcase kind of what they do, and then maybe kind of cover a couple of interactions with some items. But wanted to start off by talking about the I guess it's called the random, what's it called here? Let's see. The brainy acts of kindness. I think the item is okay. So for those that don't know, it is random element, so it does get the 121% damage boost, and then it has a 20% special, which does a 156 charisma boost for 2 turns. 156 charisma, I think, is for a lucky beast mage build. Is going to be around 51% more damage for your pets and guests when you combine their total damage. If you're using just a standard guest and a standard pet, so it's pretty good if you really think about it. But in order to get that, you forego your turn, because the special, when it fires, does no damage. And the way this one works, some random elements will actually change element per hit. I think this one actually will do, once it changes, it's the same element for the remainder of that turn. So we'll just show it off here. So yeah, it's darkness, darkness. Now, one thing I did notice, and the reason why I hopped into Void Awakening armor, because it has a Ellie lock toggle here, and I just want to show that actually the Ellie lock bypasses this. So most likely any Ellie locks that you have, any armors that's locked to an element, it will also get the Ellie comp damage. So you're probably getting the 121% damage boost, and then in the case here, it's 121%, and then you have this 167.9 on top. So there's the special. You get the charisma boost, 156. It says 2 rounds. And then I wanted to show off. So there's fire. I don't really know if it is actually getting the 121% boost, but there you have it. I don't also know if this 0 round, if that's still in effect. Most likely I think it is. So that's pretty much the weapon. One of the things about this weapon is you have to actually attack to get the pet and guest damage boost, which is plus 25%. So you can't do like clever disguise spamming and stuff like that. Now, the festive elf weapons says nothing about forcing you to attack in order to get the boost. So it's the same boost as this weapon, but it's light element. I think that one would pass off the pet and guest boost if you don't attack with it. So all in all, I give the weapon like a 7 out of 10. I think it could have been better. The more I use it, the more I kind of feel like something's missing about it. It's okay. One of the things I do have to remember is that it isn't a gold item. It's not premium. So I guess I can't complain too much. I guess it'll be accessible in Chili's shop, I guess, forever. So at the end of the day, you can't complain. Decent looking art. And then again, the charisma boost does in fact boost your pet and guest damage there. Alright, so now I'm going to pivot to the other weapon, which I think is the better weapon, the slaymore of kindness, and in this version it says and insight. So they're all ice weapons. You can get melee and ranged versions on both of the weapons. Now with this weapon here, you just click it and you'll skip your turn and it'll give you pet hypercrit. So we have the second pet hypercrit item released, and it says for 4 rounds. In addition, if you see at that top line, it says elemental guest empowerment 1.193 for 4 rounds, only affects the following elements of ice. I personally do not use an ice guest, so for me that's a complete waste. But you do get the pet hypercrit there, the 2.93. So that will be able to come in handy. I think whenever you're doing pet hypercrit, your average damage per turn, if let's say, so I'm a mage, right? So if I decided to train dexterity over luck, technically that average damage per turn for your pets and guests will be higher than the luck version, but that changes whenever you start utilizing pet hypercrit. So and then I don't know the comparison between the actual player damage, but I think the tables kind of get turned when you start using pet hypercrit a little bit, and that's one of the reasons why I think gear matters. So you can't click this until basically these effects wear off, so that's some bubble wrap they put on it. Now it sits there at 2.93 hypercrit throughout those 4 turns. Now if you use Optico Misc with it, things change, and this is why I think this weapon is the better of the two. So you start off with Optico, and then you click it, so that 2.93, once they roll Optico in, now becomes 4.18. And then the way Optico operates is it just works for the turn and then it drops. Well, so now you've got 4.18 for 3. So let's go ahead and run this again, and now it becomes 5.85. And then we're going to go again, and that becomes 8.35. So basically you get 83.5% lucky strike rate with your pets and guests. At this point, for the next 2 rounds, at this point, if you wanted to strategize, you could kill off Optico and use a different misc if you wanted to, because you're going to get 8.35 this next round, which is probably going to be good enough. So like right now, if I wanted to, I could move Optico. Maybe I wanted to do like maybe a different misc. Maybe I could actually then employ Shock Collar or Ares Rattle or something else to further boost this stuff. I do think there's like a water-based BeastMaster misc that they had released a while back. I think I skipped it. That may enhance phase here in this example. Just depends on what you want to do. But I'm going to go ahead and attack one more time and just show you that 8.35 basically becomes guaranteed. Anything over the 10 mark, so you have 133.5 hypercrit rate, and then now you can start the process over. So I wanted to talk about, once you get it to 8, or even if you got it to the 5.35, if you really wanted to, half the time you're going to crit, so you can actually swap your misc, and that's one of the the nice strategies and the variables now, because once you click this and it skips your turn, and then you go one more time, then you get up to, like I said, you get up to the 5.3 or 5.85. If you wanted to, you can just swap this misc out at this point, or if you wanted to wait one more turn or whatever. So those of you that are just spamming Optico constantly now you can actually do a couple turns with it, and then like if you wanted to do summoning stone, and then maybe you're going to boost your guest. Maybe you go with this guy now. So at this point, now you're doing plus 25% on top of your hyper crit here, and then you've got your boost here, which I don't remember the amount here off the top of my head. Plus now you're going to boost this guy. Plus you got this charisma boost. You should be able to get some pretty good damage out of your guest here. And so if you had an ice guest, obviously your elemental guest empowerment would work out a little better. So those are a couple little strategies that I personally foresee. I give the slaymore of kindness maybe a 9 out of 10. I think it's a little better only because of the way you can stack with Optico. I think considering both items are gold items, I think you can't really complain. I think they do both have their issues, like the elemental empowerment on the slaymore being ice only, and then you skip a turn to get some of the effects, which is not that big of a deal as a Beastmaster. Skipping your turn to give your pets and guests, they're going to go, so you're not losing out on damage entirely. But I don't mind skipping a turn to have several turns of some positives. And then obviously the brainy acts of kindness is has its own sort of system there, and again you can use it with some Ellie locked stuff and most likely still get the boost. I kind of wish that it was maybe a charisma weapon on top, but maybe they felt like giving the charisma boost with the charisma weapon was kind of excessive, which is fine. You still have to go basically buff your intelligence in order to increase its own damage. So at the end of the day, decent items. I don't think they're game breaking by any means. They're not anything that I would say is going to drastically change your characters. But one of the things about Beastmaster stuff that I've learned is a lot of the better stuff has like paid to play. So this is a nice change to actually bring on some gold stuff, and I hope that trend continues. I'm kind of hoping, how staff likes to, when they start to fill gaps, they really ride that shit hard. Ice armor. But maybe some of this donation contest stuff will be Beastmaster oriented, and we'll be able to continue to see some more cool stuff come out of that stuff, but that remains to be seen. Anyway, that's it. Quick showcase. The items are maybe not as good as my initial impression, but I think I do have to curb my expectation and the fact that they're gold items. I can't complain. So I think they're recommended for all Beastmasters, to be honest with you, but there are better items out there, but that's my take on it.